Hello and welcome back to the Perrin Family USA. My name is Nancy and today we are back in the kitchen and I am showing you how I make menudorojo. So menudorojo is a traditional Mexican beef tripe stew. Let's get into it. Okay, so today I'm making menudo. Menudo is a traditional Mexican soup made of beef tripe and beef feet. So I have cleaned this bowl of beef tripe and beef feet. By cleaning, I mean that I have boiled it for an hour to an hour and a half in water, lemon juice, and salt to cleanse it of impurities, any dirt that may be in it, and to take off some of the fat as well. This has been trimmed. The meat has been trimmed, but you also want to try to boil out some of the fat in lemon juice just to make sure that your soup isn't really greasy or anything like that. You don't want it too greasy. You do want a certain amount of healthy fat in it, but you don't want it greasy. So now I am just reheating some water. I'm going to, you may see a little bit of remnants of the tripe in there. That's okay, it's been washed. So I'm just waiting for that to get started boiling so I can put the meat back inside the pot, and then we'll start adding the other ingredients. All right, so we're gonna start adding our other ingredients to the menudo. I'm gonna use about a half of a white onion. Add so I can save the rest. And this soup is going to cook for about 4.5 to 5 hours, so it's okay that we don't slice the onion, very, very thinly. I'm going to slice it in thin slices, but we don't have to worry about it being chunks or anything because they're going to fall apart in that time. Okay, and I'm just going to toss it in here with the beef tripe and the beef feet. I've still got that in my bowl because I am waiting on the water to boil good. And I'm also going to take, this is about 2 teaspoons of minced garlic. I'm going to add in some cumin. This is pepper and cumin mixed together, or you can just use plain cumin, whatever you have, but this is about a half of a teaspoon of cumin. We're going to put in, I don't have too many bay leaves, and so I'm just going to put the rest of what I have. So about 5 or 6 bay leaves. This may be slightly more because they are small. Okay. We're going to add in some oregano as well. Move this over here. I don't really need the cutting board anymore right now, so I'll just move that out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. This is Mexican oregano. It does have a slightly different flavor than what the Italian oregano has, so just keep that in mind. I put about 2 tablespoons of that in there. Not really measuring. I'm not big on measuring. I kind of know when I see it, how much is good and all that. So later on, when we do actually put it inside, we'll be adding some beef bouillon or beef broth to it. and some salt, and then we'll put our peppers later on, and you'll see that as we do that. So, okay, so I just wanted to add that whenever I do put the meat in there, we're going to let it cook for about 4.5 hours, and then we're going to make the salsa that goes in it. So that's when we'll be putting the peppers in there. But we're going to cook it for about 4.5 hours, just these spices, a little bit of salt, and the meat, obviously, and just let that boil for about 4.5 hours. And then we're going to add in the peppers, let them cook down, and then we'll take the peppers out, make salsa, dump it back in, and cook it for about another hour, just to give it that flavor. All right, so the spices are in. We are going to let it boil for about 4.5 hours on medium heat. And then we'll start adding the rest of the ingredients, which will make up the salsa, which makes the menudo red. All right, so now our meat has been boiling for about 4.5 hours. So we are now going to add the dried chilies and some paprika. I have 4 chili guajillo, and I have 4 chili ancho, and then the paprika will add about a tablespoon of that. I'm going to make sure to take the stem and seeds out of the dried chilies and wash them thoroughly before I add them to the pot. Once we add them in, we will cook them inside the pot with the other ingredients for about an hour or so. Make sure they're good and tender, which they'll get good and tender after, 20-30 minutes, but I go ahead and cook them for about an hour or so just to make sure that they're really, really broken down so that we can put them in the blender, because we'll be taking them back out of the pot after an hour and adding some of the broth into the blender as well, and blending it all up and then mixing it back into the pot, okay? All right, so I have the chili peppers and some of the broth from the soup inside the blender. We're going to blend it up, and then we'll stir it in and let the soup continue to cook for about another 30 minutes. All right, so the salsa is very blended, and this is what it looks like, bright red. All right, so that's what the soup is looking like, and I'll show you the finished product once it gets done, which will be in about 30 minutes. So this is the finished product. You want to garnish with cilantro and eat with tortillas. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you will stick around and watch some of our other videos. I want to invite you to subscribe to the channel. It is free. It doesn't cost you anything. Also, be sure to give us a big thumbs up and share out. Bye-bye.